There was a time when every home shared the same quiet details, objects that seemed ordinary then, yet unforgettable now. Many of them have disappeared without notice, and when we look back, we realize they carried more meaning than we ever understood. Season 1, The Rotary Phone on the Wall. Many of us remember a time when the telephone was not something we carried, but something that waited patiently in a fixed place, often mounted on the wall or resting on a small table. It became a quiet center of communication within the home. Its presence was constant, yet its use was deliberate. To make a call required a certain rhythm. Each number was dialed slowly, the circular motion of the finger returning with a soft mechanical sound. There was no rushing through the process. Every call had intention, and every ring carried anticipation. When the phone rang, it was rarely ignored. The sound echoed through the house, drawing attention from every room. Someone would pause what they were doing, walk toward it, and answer with a sense of purpose. Conversations were shared experiences, not always private, often heard in fragments by others nearby. There was a quiet understanding that communication had limits. Calls were not constant, and silence between them was natural. In that space, time moved gently, uninterrupted by the need to always respond. The telephone was not just a device. It shaped the pace of interaction, reminding us that connection did not need to be immediate to be meaningful. Season 2, Television with Antenna and Static. Television once occupied a central place in the home, both physically and socially. It was not simply turned on in passing, but gathered around with intention. The screen, often small by today's standards, held the attention of the entire room. Reception was never perfect. The image flickered, lines appeared, and clarity depended on the position of an antenna that seemed to require constant adjustment. Many of us recall standing near the television, carefully moving the antenna while someone across the room called out instructions. "Hold it there," they would say, as the picture briefly sharpened. Programming followed a schedule that shaped the evening. Families organized their time around specific broadcasts, knowing that once a program ended, it was gone until another day. There was no option to pause or replay. What was seen was experienced together in that moment. In many homes, the television was one of the few shared sources of entertainment. It created a quiet gathering where conversation paused and attention focused in a common direction. The imperfections of the signal, the limited choices, and the shared viewing all contributed to a sense of presence that was felt rather than noticed. Season 3, VHS player and movie tapes. Before digital convenience, watching a film required a small but meaningful preparation. The VHS player, often placed beneath the television, introduced a different kind of interaction with entertainment. Tapes were selected carefully, sometimes rented, sometimes owned, each one carrying a physical presence. Holding a cassette in hand, inserting it into the player, and hearing the soft mechanical acceptance of the machine became part of the experience itself. There was a certain patience involved. Rewinding a tape took time. It was expected, even respected as part of the process. The image might not always be perfect, with occasional distortions or fading colors. Yet these imperfections were accepted without concern. Choosing a movie often became a shared decision. The act of watching was not solitary. It unfolded within the presence of others, creating a quiet sense of togetherness. The film began when everything was ready, not instantly, and perhaps because of that, the experience felt more complete. Attention was given fully, without distraction, as the story moved forward from beginning to end. Season 4, Wooden Display Cabinet with Glassware. In many homes, there was a cabinet that seemed to exist between daily life and special occasions. Made of wood, often with glass panels, it held items that were rarely touched. Inside, carefully arranged, were dishes, glasses, and objects reserved for moments that carried importance. These items were not part of everyday use. They were protected, preserved, and quietly admired. Children learned early that these objects had meaning beyond their function. They represented care, tradition, and a sense of order within the home. Opening the cabinet was done with attention, often accompanied by a reminder to be careful. Most days, the cabinet remained closed. Its presence was constant, yet its contents were only brought into use during gatherings or celebrations. In this way, it marked the difference between ordinary time and something slightly more significant. The cabinet did not demand attention, but it quietly shaped how certain moments were recognized and remembered. Season 5, family dining table used every day. The dining table once held a role that extended far beyond meals. It was a place where the day gathered itself, where conversations unfolded naturally, and where time seemed to slow. Meals were often shared at consistent times. Chairs were pulled in, plates arranged, and the simple act of sitting together created a pause in the rhythm of the day. There was no need for formality, yet there was a quiet structure that brought everyone to the same place. Conversation did not follow a script. It moved gently from one subject to another, reflecting the events of the day, the concerns of the moment, and the small observations that might otherwise pass unnoticed. There was a sense of presence that required no effort. Being at the table meant being together, without distraction, without urgency. Even silence felt natural, part of the shared experience. Over time, the table became more than a piece of furniture. It held memories of countless evenings, each one blending into the next, forming a quiet continuity that defined the feeling of home. Season 6, loud wall clock ticking all day. In many homes, there was a sound that never truly stopped. It was not loud enough to demand attention, yet it was always present. The steady ticking of a wall clock marked the passage of time with quiet consistency. Unlike today, time was not constantly displayed in front of us. It was heard, felt, and occasionally observed. The clock hung in a familiar place, often in the living room or kitchen, where its presence blended naturally into daily life. Each second passed with a soft, rhythmic sound. Tick, then tock. It created a gentle structure that accompanied everything from morning routines to late evening quiet. The sound was not distracting. It was grounding. Many of us remember how that ticking became more noticeable in moments of stillness. During a quiet afternoon, or when the house settled at night, the clock seemed to speak more clearly, reminding us that time was moving, even when nothing else was. There was no urgency in that movement. Time did not rush. It unfolded steadily, measured not only by numbers but by experience. The ticking did not pressure the day. It simply accompanied it. In that quiet rhythm, we learned to live within time rather than against it. Season 7, sewing machine in the living room. There was a time when many homes held a sewing machine, often placed in a corner of the living room or near a window where the light was better. It was not hidden away. It was part of the home's daily life. The machine carried a quiet purpose. Clothes were not easily replaced, so they were cared for. A loose thread, a small tear, or a worn edge was not seen as the end of something, but as a moment that required attention. The sound of the sewing machine had its own rhythm, a steady mechanical movement that filled the room in short intervals, then faded back into silence. It was a sound of care, of patience, and of quiet focus. Children often watched without fully understanding. The process seemed simple, yet it carried a deeper meaning. Things were maintained, not discarded. Value was extended through effort. There was no urgency in this activity. It was done when needed, with attention and calm. The result was not only a repaired garment, but a quiet continuation of something that might otherwise have been lost. Over time, the sewing machine became more than a tool. It represented a way of living that valued preservation, attention, and the quiet satisfaction of taking care of what we already had. Season 8, radio playing throughout the house. The radio once provided a constant background to daily life. It did not demand full attention, yet was always there, filling the home with voices, music, and gentle sound, often placed in the kitchen or living room. The radio accompanied routines that unfolded throughout the day. It played while meals were prepared, while tasks were completed, and while moments of rest quietly passed. The sound traveled easily from one room to another. There was no need to follow it. It simply existed, creating a shared atmosphere within the home. The voices on the radio felt familiar, even if we never saw the people speaking. Music played a significant role. Songs became part of memory, tied to specific moments without effort. A tune heard repeatedly would later return unexpectedly. bringing with a sense of time and place. Unlike modern devices, the radio offered limited control. We listened to what was available, and in doing so, we discovered things we might not have chosen ourselves. There was a quiet openness in that experience. The radio did not isolate. It connected, not only to the outside world, but to the shared space within the home, where sound became part of daily life. Season 9, front porch chairs facing the street. In many neighborhoods, the front porch served as a quiet extension of the home. It was a place that faced outward, connecting the private space inside with the shared world outside. Chairs were often placed there, simple and functional. They were not arranged for decoration, but for presence. Sitting on the porch allowed one to observe the street, to notice who passed by, and to take part in the gentle rhythm of the neighborhood. Conversations happened naturally in this space. A neighbor walking by might pause for a few moments, exchanging a few words before continuing. There was no need for planning. Interaction unfolded spontaneously. Children playing nearby remained within sight. Their movements formed part of the view, just as much as the trees, the sidewalk, or the passing cars. The porch offered a quiet balance between watching and being present. Even in silence, the act of sitting there carried meaning. It was a way of being part of the environment without needing to change it. Time passed slowly, marked by small observations rather than events. The front porch did not separate people. It brought them gently into connection with one another. Season 10, handwritten notes and paper calendars. There was a time when reminders, plans, and messages were recorded by hand. Paper calendars hung on walls or rested on desks, quietly organizing the days ahead. Each entry was written with intention. Dates were marked carefully, notes added in small spaces, and important moments highlighted with simple clarity. There was no automation, no alerts, only the act of remembering through writing. Handwritten notes carried a personal quality that was difficult to overlook. A message left on a table or attached to the surface was both practical and meaningful. It reflected the presence of the person who had written it. The act of writing itself created a moment of pause. It required attention, even for something simple. In that process, thoughts became more deliberate, more connected to the moment in which they were recorded. Calendars were not constantly updated. They remained visible, offering a quiet reminder of what was to come. Over time, they also became records of what had passed, holding small traces of daily life. These simple tools did more than organize time. They gave it form, allowing us to see our days as part of a larger continuity. Now I'd love to hear from you. Where did you grow up, and what was it like back then? What do you remember most about those days? The streets, the routines, the small moments that stayed with you. Share your memories in the comments. Your story might bring those times back, even if just for a moment.